you can't go for this play, not 3 times in a row.
There we have it.
Or you can just ban.
You first ban Misfortune. Of course you first ban Misfortune. It's against ROX Tigers. You have to do this.
Yeah, now the question is they probably still ban Aurelion Sol, and potentially they ban Jace as well, with the Jhin ban being what they drop. That will leave Ashe open if they decide to do that, or maybe they let Faker play into Aurelion Sol if they think ROX is going to early pick it, because that also stops ROX from being able to get a mid lane counter pick for Kuro. A lot of different strategies that Coma could take here.
Definitely, I expect Aurelion Sol to kind of just go out the window, especially now that Ryze and Syndra are out as well. Faker doesn't have a history of playing it. It's just you don't want to introduce such a large variable this point in the game. If SKT was 2-1 up, I could actually see them leaving it open.
And yet another mid lane ban from ROX Tigers, making sure Faker can't play Cassiopeia. I like that tweak because he's been super good at it. The question is now, Nidalee was unbanned.
Yeah.
So Bengi, unless they want to give it over to Peanut, has to play the Nidalee.
And he has to perform. We haven't seen this champion really go off in this tournament because it's been banned so often.
And 2 of the losses that ROX Tigers had in the group stage were to Nidalee. They lost to CLG and Albus Nox playing this champion.
And it gives Ashe Zyra straight over to ROX Tigers. They're probably going to play Caitlyn Karma against it. But it's so interesting, too, because you wonder, how has Bengi been able to train his Nidalee? He didn't play it during the regular season. He's not known as a Nidalee player. You can't practice the champion in solo queue because it's permabanned there as well. So they would have had to be playing a lot of, or some scrims with Bengi on Nidalee to try and train this up to a point where they're confident first picking it in what could be an elimination game at Worlds.
Yeah, but it's a good jungler to play into 2 low mobility targets still. Nidalee, spears are sidesteppable, but having another gap closer gives you the security to go for that play. An early gank, plus a curtain call could just guarantee these spears hitting. It's just so hard to eliminate these options. And again, this is a combination down bottom that can vastly outrange the Zyra if she wants to get picked off right there. So that is the counter to that.
Yeah, and it also depends how much SKT want to mix this up. Faker has played a decent amount of Karma in the mid lane, and they can easily flex that there for him as well. And it's not just that Bengi isn't necessarily capable of playing Nidalee, but it also doesn't fit SKT's style very well, where their solo lanes are such heavy farms. So a big change. I cannot emphasize enough how different this SKT team will look coming into this game 4.
Wow, and the early Victor pickup. We're going to see another Victor Orianna matchup, so likely leaving the top lane pick for last because their bot lane's been performing so well. Victor is a fine champion in a very pinched mid lane meta, which means you can give Smeb what he wants, which is the counter pick top lane.
Yeah, and just based on the way this draft phase is going, Crepo, it definitely feels like SKT have been backed into a corner. ROX has played this series so well, they forced the Misfortune ban, they completely changed what SKT has done. Blank wasn't playing well, they have to sub back in Bengi. While they're on blue side, they're forced into a first pick Nidalee. All these things are things that SKT, you feel like they almost have to do, and it's going to be really hard for them to fight their way out.
But at the same time, SKT's drafts have always been at least fine. The gameplay is what mattered the most here. A lot of these plays were technically avoidable, counterable, but there was no initiative on the side of SKT.
Yeah, they've been the victims of many attacks by the ROX Tigers, but you also look at the way, even if their drafts have been fine, look at all the changes they are making. So clearly SKT thinks they need to make large adjustments in this phase of the game, and this is a pretty massive departure from what we've seen from them thus far.
I like it though. I like Zilean, especially. It just fits stylistically against an Ashe. Targets gets picked off, you revive it. You have a weak early laner in Victor, should probably get pushed in by the Zilean in that matchup. You have just a block in the top lane, the Gnar. When all else fails, just pick Gnar again. Make sure he gets into the game, speed him up in the team fights. At least you have some crown control effects there because you're playing with a jungler that is purely damage focused and doesn't have CC.
And the hover right now is on the rumble here. 30 seconds to go until that one times out here. It just feels like time and again, ROX get everything they could want, and as the team is playing better, this feels good for them to close this out.
I almost want to see a Poppy here, just into the Gnar for Smeb, but he feels like he just wants to be more of a damage threat.
Too bad, Crepo, he's going rumble. That once again.
Sucks for me. But yeah, he has the, if he does the same thing he did in the last few games, which is switch up the lanes he goes to, doesn't use his teleport, just goes to the lane immediately, plays around enemy teleport advantage very well, uses Fog of War, then I'm so happy with this rumble pick because I want to see more great Smeb plays.
And I'm really excited as well for the jungle matchup overall. It's funny because we keep casting this Nidalee in a negative light because we haven't seen Bengi perform on it, but this is the only champion at Worlds 2016's 100% pick band. Every single team respects this champion, and if Bengi can show up on it with SKT's backs against the wall, that's huge.
And the first 4 levels are so important to follow because Olaf is actually relatively predictable in the jungle. And he goes super low on mana, so if anything goes wrong, his clear is disrupted to an extreme degree, which is honestly puts the onus of this game onto Bengi. He can single-handedly destroy ROX's early game and have SKT play their comfortable even into the mid-game style.
And Bengi has been nothing if he has not been clutch at big moments in international stages. SKT and every World Championship they have attended, they have won. They have never lost a best of 5 at Worlds. They are pushed from 1 game towards elimination. Bengi subs back in, having won the first game, and he gets put on a first pick Nidalee. This is when Bengi has to step up to save SKT.
And SKT has done this before. I've seen SKT backs against the wall in a best of 5 and pulling it out in the end anyway. This could be the last game of the night, or if Bengi has anything to say, we go to a game 5. Summoners Cup, the chance in the finals on the line here. SK Telecom T1 versus ROX Tigers, game 4. Here we go.
All right, let's track it here. Very condensed ROX lineup, looking for a potential face check punish. SKT very spread here. If somebody tries to challenge River Vision, a single axe could blow Faker's flash here. Ah. Or it could not.
Left. They thought he would be waiting in the brush. Faker was waiting in plain sight, but they didn't have the reveal because they wanted to throw the axe from around the corner. Dangerous scout. Get away with it.
But they lose. Ooh. I actually don't like that play because you should fan out, especially when you're playing against an Nidalee. Giving early information in your jungle. We've seen what Korean teams can do with a single ward, a single sliver of information, especially against a relatively predictable jungle like Olaf.
Absolutely agree. You had champions like Elise and Lee Sin earlier who can jump over walls and hide around. Olaf has no such tricks. He walks in a straight line and...
Oh, and they're unaware of the ward, because look, Smeb's going to go for a fake leash, it seems. Or is he just warding? It looked like he was setting up for the
he
fake
dropped a
leash.
late trinket.
But he saw the ward being put down. So what they're going to do is actually they're going to start the Olaf on the bottom side of the map and leave that ward right there so the Nidalee can't go for the creative red buff steal on level 2.
And they placed it late enough that even if Bengi does go for it, theoretically Peanut would have time to run down and just trade the buffs in that fashion. So a lot of mind games going on early.
Oh, and Faker for the early steal.
Starts at the Raptors. That's clever, knowing they have the red buff. Started knowing that he's going to start blue. Gets 1 minion, doesn't lose any in lane.
Time bomb in the 3 autos should give him level 2 at the end of the first wave. It'll also prevent certain jungle patterns from Peanut from hitting level 3 either. He'll have to go to his red buff or his Braum.
Correct, because a lot of the 3-path jungle rushes do include the Raptors, and this means if his third camp is the Raptors, he wouldn't be level 3 off of it because of that single minion being stolen.
Let's see what else can happen here. Bengi, 2 camps in so far. Gromp into blue buff, got a partial leash from Duke, and Peanut should have been communicated that the Raptors were gone, so he will stay and do a more power farming focused route. All 3 camps on the same side of his jungle. He'll walk over top side later, and he, I believe, never gets spotted by a ward doing this, so there's no guarantee that SKT knows exactly what camp he's on.
But they knew he started without a leash, which means they can actually extrapolate that he likely is going to be very low after his first clear.
Yeah, and probably started blue buff to be able to secure that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the jungle mind games going on as well, you still have to pay attention to the mechanics of the lane. In the bottom lane right there, Bang had a great step forward off of one of the Zyra E's and was able to get a very positive trade.
Look at Peanut though, he passed by mid lane, avoids his own jungle. He doesn't know where Nidalee is. If he gets contested on that Skello Crab that he's doing right now, he is gonna go down. So this is a little bold. Even though these guys are separate parts of the map, we have to look at what the information is present to the teams, not to us.
Yeah, and this is my thought on Peanut's decision-making process. He knows that they late warded a spot that was warded by SKT. So that means SKT is expecting that Peanut's going to do a generally normal clear, so he's just making an educated guess that Bengi probably wouldn't invade based off a ward. And now, because he didn't get caught, he knows that Bengi would have done a full clear. These are all the things you have to somehow track in your head while you're laning at the highest level.
In addition to that, he secures the entrances to his jungle first before he goes to clear them. Which means if he gets contested, at least he can spot the Nidalee coming in early. God forbid she's in the jungle already, at least he got a Scuttle Crab for his troubles.
Yeah, Bengi right now was about a full camp ahead. At this point, it's going to be an equal trade overall. Every single jungler took 6 camps in a Scuttle Crab now, so they're a bit equal, but Bengi's the first to make a bit of a move. You can see a slightly deep trinket ward that won't always spot anything, but it is going to be the double bomb and a Kuro, and he's got a flash. That was a crucial flash. He probably would have died if that javelin landed.
Look at them. Ooh, Gorilla.
A lot of damage in a hit, but they know there's no auto attack left for Bang. He's going to trade back in with Prey. Exhaust was already burned. Wolf stays in for a nice chunk of damage as well. The flash! Ooh, if an auto attack lands, he was dead.
The spear through the minions.
Bengi is not going to get it, but it's still dangerous. ROX have very little to do here.
Peanut is coming. Bengi is very afraid of Fog of War here. One more try!
Oh, he had to flash to get away from that one, and that just means a quick jump over from Bengi. That is a loss of summoners for ROX Tigers.
Wow, and with the snowball effect of some of these early jungle matchups, that could have had such a huge impact on the game. It does get both flashes there out of the ROX Tigers in the extended engagement.
All right, Bengi is not going for a play on mid lane. He's going to wait for Peanut. He's going to challenge him on the Wolves. He actually hides out of vision here. Watch him walk in right now. He's going to contest that camp.
Pretty dangerous. He
Look at
knows
Peanut
the
pull it out.
on Kuro.
The mind games here, they know they can get spotted here.
They're going for Kuro.
Double bomb on a Kuro. Javelin's going to land this time, and he's going to get the damage. Yes, he is. First blood in for Faker.
He's out.
Over the wall goes Bengi, and so far, so good for the first pick in Italy. The chase is still on, but hops over the wall, and Peanut gets nothing done.
Now we got to question Kuro in this matchup. You cannot afford to get double bombed twice in a row. It is possible to sidestep that. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's versus Faker, but getting hit twice by those skill shots in a row costs ROX the early lead.
One constant in this series has been Faker being able to outplay Kuro early on in the laning phase, and picking the Zillion is a very skill-reliant champion both as and against. And Bengi, it looked like he was feigning to go at Peanut, but with the double bomb, makes the spear automatic. Even though he sees Peanut, Bengi knows he has flash, autos after the execute, flashes, jumps, able to dodge the axe, just the play they needed to make.
Yeah, and that's Kuro getting in slow range against the Zillion, which means you're under auto attack range right there, trying to telegraph that he's going for the minions right there. Should have probably just sacked the CS. Did not expect Bengi to be around, because Bengi, unlike Peanut, is willing to waste a lot of time, or spend a lot of time rather, going for a setup. Peanut is such a high tempo jungler, he will at most wait 5, 6, 7 seconds for a play, then move on. Bengi was camping there for quite a while, just outside the edges of vision.
Which is extremely peculiar when you consider a Nidalee pick, who is usually all about the efficiency and being 10 and 20 CS up on the opponent.
Yeah, look how he pops his ghost early. He does not want to get in slow range of Faker, because the second Faker slows him, he almost but guarantees the double bomb.
There's so much risks though right now. Faker level 6 has the ulti. Any turret dive is almost no risk if Peanut's not there, and Peanut himself practically out of mana. Probably won't have much to say if a dive does happen. Kuro just barely level 5 right now.
Kuro, seeing the one bomb was on the minions, positions himself against the turret, meaning he's definitely going to get hit by the next bomb. It's a very contentious mid lane right now. Bengi, though, actually getting out-leveled by Peanut, so power farming on Olaf. He is one of the few junglers that can keep up with Nidalee's speed of farm.
Definitely can, but Bengi is taking a team player approach. He went for pressure in the bot lane. Guess what? A little CS lead here and pushing lanes. There's vision, there's control. SKT is much more happy to give up the CS lead in the jungle to get control of the game. If they can rob this blue buff away from both Olaf and Victor, it's a big hit to ROX's economy.
And he's just going to take the blue for himself, while the ROX lanes are none the wiser because the ward smattering doesn't actually catch him. Great timing.
And now he keeps him just locked up. Allow the lanes to thrive right now. Winning mid, winning bot. Even the Gnar is going even in terms of push versus Med, but if you then look at the CS count,
yeah,
that's a whole different matchup.
Yeah, let's kind of recap the game overall. We've been focusing very heavily on what Faker and Bengi have been doing, and to their credit, it's been really good. You've got a moderate lead in the bot lane, Bang up 9 right now over Prey, but this top lane matchup is plus 22. Smeb is single-handedly keeping the gold remotely close. Arrow lands on the Bang, but is there any meaningful follow-up? Not really. A root on a Wolf, and it's a fair bit of damage, but now it's Faker joining in, finding the double bomb on a Prey. The curtain call is there, and Peanut's going to block it, so that's going to be all right for them. It is a TP out of Faker, the ghost out of Peanut showing up.
Very surprised that they actually decided to commit to that teleport, not cancel Faker out there. Just his breathing room for Kuro in the mid lane. Just want to touch back to that Smeb point. Because these junglers have constantly been revealing each other, obviously top was a free playground for Smeb to continuously push in on that Rumble.
Yeah, and when Rumble doesn't have to fear jungle ganks, he will shove in almost all of their top laners. But to talk about the bottom lane again, I'm a little surprised that once again, SKT gets hit by the Ash Arrow exactly on level 6. Like, how many times does that play have to happen? But because they have the double TP, they have the luxury of burning it, so to speak, out of Faker. He loses pressure on the mid lane, but he does harass the bottom lane and prevent a kill.
But this is also part of that teleport. These plays that cannot be evaluated in the vacuum. You got to look at the kind of minute span that happens right after. They lose the red buff, and right now, there's pressure.
And you can see all this damage now onto this bottom turret. ROX Tigers
wave too.
heavily playing around their bottom lane. Smeb's quietly winning in the top lane, but all the pressure is down here in the 2-on-2. And despite the earlier farm deficit, look at all the damage ROX is getting on the turret itself. Peanut, nice juke on the Deadly Flourish. Gonna get rooted up by a Wolf, but look at the damage they can do thanks to Zyra on this poor Karma. And Peanut can hit it. That red buff affects turrets. Look at the damage he's got on that.
Yeah, there's 3/4 of the turret. They might actually finish it unless Juke teleports down, which he doesn't want to do. This lane pressure is immense from ROX Tigers.
And there's a reason ROX is this confident, because in the mid lane, Kuro saw Faker run back into mid with blue buff. Guess how he got it?
Handoff.
Handoff, which means jungle's on the other side of the map here. ROX have shown a continuous priority for the tier 1 tower in the bot lane, and they've succeeded the last 3 games in a row, and it's really was propelling them forward in the mid game, because now again they can unlock this Ash for more arrows.
And that's going to be flash out of Bang for that one. The
teleport
coming up already.
Flash.
Here we go. What's going to happen?
By Duke.
Summoner heal just to run away a bit faster, but Equalizer is perfect, and Bang has nowhere to go. But Bangy's around as well. All of SKT now flooding into the bottom lane through the Tri-Brush. This is going to be a bit of a close fight. No root's going to land, but a lot of slows coming out. Now the snipes looking towards Prey, looking towards Gorilla. How much can be landed? One shot comes through. How much more can even happen? And he weaves it through him. That's a kill. Smeb is next up. Summoner heal is in. The chase through for Bangy. Then it's going to be another Javelin. Will he chase in? No. Deadly Flourish blocked for the one person who wasn't attacked, and Prey keeps his team from being rooted. But that is another kill for SKT.
Kuro was much slower than Faker, so halfway through the play, he turned around, he went back to the mid lane. That's when ROX decided to retreat. That's why they let Zyra take that last bullet as well, because she was dead in the water anyways. ROX trying to cut their losses.
Yeah, but a much different and more proactive SKT is what we're seeing in this game. They make the mistake of being too obvious about their blue handoff to Faker, and they lose a turret, but very quickly they react to trying to send everyone to the bottom lane after ROX tried to make the teleport play.
But also one of these plays where ROX, they make a play, it fails, and they keep going on. And this is one of these plays where if they don't go for this teleport, they actually win out on the map hugely. But they match TP for TP. They don't follow up on Equalizer. Honestly, they should be able to respect that Faker is here much faster than Kuro. This is, from a strategic point of view, a misplay from ROX. We cannot understate that SKT did the right thing in reacting, but still, if you play.
You're right, it is another reactive play here by SKT, but they have the ability to roam much better with the double TP and the Zillion. Now they have Smeb slowed with no flash.
Even more. Root into goodbye. Smeb running out of health. That'll be an easy one picked up. Bang! Gonna secure the last hit. 2 of 3 of SKT's kills are on the 80 carry. Looking pretty good. 700 gold in the mid game.
All right, there's your proactive play from SKT, and they need to be able to play at this level, being up 3 kills with the Zillion, Karma, Jhin, and the Nidalee. Like, they really do need to start snowballing this game and be able to get to a point where they can just close on to Prey and Gorilla.
We might see even more of that. Talking about some of the gold leads here, the gap has closed in the top lane. You're seeing 86 to 90 up there, so props to Duke for making all that happen. And kind of everywhere on the map, it's a very tight game. Turrets 1 apiece. ROX Tigers still down despite getting first turret gold.
And the crowd here rallying behind both these teams, honestly.
Dueling support between the fans right here, and this series has really delivered on almost every level, and it's not even over yet, especially if SKT could turn this into a 5th game. We know the ROX Tigers need to conquer SKT. They thought they'd have a chance to do it in the summer split. Then SKT went ahead and lost to KT Rolster, so even though ROX won Korea, they didn't actually go through SKT, and now they do have an opportunity to take them down 3-1 if they're able to win this game.
And because it's so even, ROX can't do their favorite gameplay pattern here. They can't just swap in Prey into the mid lane. He is pushing out though. Usually when Prey does this, he pushes out bot lane until he no longer feels safe, goes into Fog of War behind mid and looks for an arrow. But he is obviously playing against a Zillion with both a built-in speed boost as well as a revive if things go a little sour.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about the Tahm Kench being a potential pick against the Ashe. The Zillion is also a good pick against the Ashe, unless Zillion is the one who gets hit by the arrow. And Karma can help with the speed, too.
Like they saw him coming, and they were still so close to getting hit by this arrow because Prey, he just shoots them off so perfectly. He passed 2 wards, and he still got within an inch of hitting right there.
Always a lot to watch for. Of course, the Victor in the mid lane can blow you up if you're not paying attention to that. The arrow as well, and Hey, even Wolf paying attention, of course. The haste helping for sure. Quick clear in the mid lane. It's SKT with the first play on this one. ROX will be wave clearing second.
And wonder where Prey is going. Maybe he surprises top by moving behind the Rumble, and ROX go for what they've always been doing, switching up, going for another tier 1 turret, but there is still a dragon that's available on the bot side that's drawing them back to the southern part of the map.
Yeah, and notice how open the map actually is right now. Both teams have cleared the bottom turret, and there's a lot of mutual respect for the power of these teams. Notice how few deep wards there are for both teams. They kind of have the river and their own side of the jungle warded, but nothing beyond that. So it's very difficult to actually make intelligent plays forward, and instead they're almost relying on an Ash Arrow or some type of setup at the Drake.
Yeah, it's always difficult when teams control their own side of the map so well. You have to rely on some level of guesswork, and we know ROX are happy to play around guessing. We know they're happy to take these chancy plays. Hopefully they don't get double slapped for this.
And you can see that they're trying to decide it together right now. They pinged the bot wave, they sent Victor there half a screen away, and then Kuro turned around and was like, nah, actually, I don't really want to go bot lane right now. Let's just share a wave and farm. So things are no longer just mapped out minutes ahead. Both these teams are stuck in a state of flux, continuously reacting to what they see, but there's so much more that they don't see because there is no deep vision.
Seeing them just trade back and forth, mostly playing around clearing the waves, putting them up to the turret and saying, can we get to the side? Can we get to the mouth of the river? Maybe a little bit here, and it goes away. You see Faker killing wards over this pink ward that's been placed down. That little bit of the river is theirs, and well, they've got this part of the river as well, clearing out this ward that Gorilla just put down.
And this time, SKT's AD carry actually has pick potential himself. It's not an Ash Arrow, but a Curtain Call played well, combined with Deadly Flourish, essentially can do the same thing.
Yeah, not to mention he has the Ghostblade Power Spike right now before Prey can complete the Essence Reaver. They do have a pretty powerful moment right now, but Peanut starts the Drake while Bengi is in base.
Bengi had finished the
SKT should open up
recall.
with Curtain Call here, try and push them off.
There's no one there to really help them fight. Then Nidalee not there to do battle. The rest could TP in. I think SKT understand they couldn't have really fought for that.
And look where Faker was. He was like meandering around the red buff. Another arrow goes.
He jukes back into it. Bang actually turned back down. The chain CC is there, but Bang is able to flash away, but that is Summoners down. Now the reopen up onto Gorilla, but Peanut's going to tank the shots, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, shoot at me, I don't care, and the last one gets juked out.
I'm telling you, man, this guy, he knows exactly how you're going to juke, and even that you know that he knows, you still get hit.
He got sped up by Karma too, and he couldn't figure out exactly where to go. Also, that play was set up though because of the one deep pink ward that ROX has had in SKT's jungle for a while now. Faker was meandering. Oh, they actually catch Prey.
The Deadly Flourish is there. Ash arrows are nice, but the root's good as well. He's got Bangy to help stick him down. Now, how good is the chase going to be? Undertow's going to miss, and the Equalizer, not how I would have aimed it myself. It should have been
a little bit.
90 degrees counterclockwise. Might have been the counter engage they needed.
Yeah, that wasn't a great equalizer. But it's Smeb. There's one top lane in Rumble that I will forgive. A little bit of an oopsie. It is Smeb. But yeah, ROX right now, they're being matched by SKT. Not only are they being matched, SKT is 1,000 gold ahead.
Ooh, now Peanut's in a bit of danger. No flash, or no ghost, I should say, for him. It was already down. He's able to run away. Red Smite's just to lower the damage output that Duke would have had on him.
A little shake up here too. Bengi looking to join Faker on the bot lane, maybe surprising Prey. Prey kept this flash though, very important. But the zone from bombs might be enough to get some chip damage, or at least a rotation mid maybe. SKT changing up the laning patterns here themselves.
Yeah, Faker's also been roaming a lot this game, so Kuro's ahead of him in CS despite having the early death in the mid lane, which will be a boon for ROX in the late game if Kuro's able to hit those big item power spikes. And for now, it's still a very even game, but with that roam, SKT didn't get chip damage. They did get some very powerful wards within the jungle of ROX.
Yeah, but they're waiting for picks again here. It's honestly that first TP that Faker did that just didn't quite hit the mark. He gave Kuro enough breathing room. Aggressively contesting blue buffs though. Very aware of the timers. Faker eventually gets it.
Yeah, really stealing a lot away, and to keep in mind, this is still a 1,500 gold lead for SK Telecom T1. Their persistent team fight damage later in the game isn't incredibly high, whereas ROX Tigers have a whole bunch of damage threats. Zillion tapers off damage-wise pretty quickly, but so far it is still SKT controlling, and every team that has held an early game lead has been able to close it out so far this series. We know these top-level teams are so good at playing with the lead and never letting someone back in.
But SKT have put ROX in, honestly, a good chokehold here, because nobody can really deal with Faker in the side lane. Faker is much more mobile if he wants to leave. In addition to that, he also has teleport. So if they can actually keep Kuro locked down in the bot lane, receiving the push from Faker, and this doesn't happen, then SKT is good. SKT want to keep these lane matchup, but they have to keep dodging the arrows, and that's the hardest part. If they do that, though, Faker can continuously pressure out the bot lane.
And it gives them more and more time to try and set up plays. Because if Victor's not in the team fight is very weak for the ROX Tigers. And there's a lot of targets that can be picked off at this stage in the game. Most namely, you talk about the Zyra and the Ashe.
Also, as the Victor has to trail into teamfight late, he's going to run into potential pick attempts here by a sped up Faker. The max range from the mid lane, bang with the current call. He can influence both top and bot lane. That's why you really want to have that Jhin in the mid lane. And there's still that ward. Look, Vegas spotted again.
For all the incredible plays that these guys have pulled off and all the praise we've given them, you have to check that brush for the pink ward. It's going back earliest things when you're in a jungle.
You heard you, Jet? Nope, he's going for red buff.
He hasn't been smiting the Raptors, so it's also not giving him the notification when he's close to it. And that is just giving so much knowledge to the ROX Tigers.
We know exactly where Nidalee is, which means Peanut can hard commit for this gank. No risk of counter ganks here.
He's tried so many times to come up to this lane, actually. It's the third time I've seen him on the screen up there in the last 3 minutes or so trying to make it happen. Bengi just takes away half his camps, and Duke kills a ward away and says, yeah, nice try, buddy. Looking at one more chance in this one. Axe going to land, and Duke seems impervious to this pressure.
It's honestly also because it's both in choice to go for the lane, but also because there is no other option. It's so hard to gank mid lane with so much vision around here. You're not really going to gank a Faker in a long lane on the Zillion, so your only option is to either farm, which he does, and then linger around top lane, maybe at least preventing a gank from Bengi.
Yeah, and we may be in that situation from ROX Tigers where unless they land a beautiful Ashe arrow to engage, we just don't see them making any proactive plays because they don't have the team composition to do it, especially against all of the mobility that SKT has early on in this game.
Like we're maybe headed towards catastrophic team fight of the game as it's slowed down a little bit here. Only one turret per team 20 minutes in. ROX Tigers have been held kill-less so far 20 minutes in. That's nearly a record in itself. They normally get so much more done here at this point.
The next Mountain Drake spawns in a mid though, and with that being a very valued dragon for both these teams, that may be a catalyst that this game so desperately requires.
I agree with you there, and even though SKT did have some good warding in the blue buff area of the ROX Tigers, that's been cleared out. And there's still that pesky little pink ward that Peanut placed many minutes ago.
It's actually a great TP ward. If you make them retreat from Dragon into their own jungle somehow, that can be very surprising.
Yeah, and I wonder where SKT's going to divert their pressure. ROX have been the kings of the Dragon so far in this series by getting it again and again. And about the 5th gank that Peanut sent up the top lane, maybe he reaches Duke this time. Faker's on the way.
This looks quite a bit better. The slows are still there, but suddenly the fact that Faker could revive means nothing to be had. Oh, what a great zone used by Smeb! Getting away from it all, and the bombs aren't going to land either. But the turret's so low, and Bengi wants to dive. He's got one, and SKT are breaking this one apart now. Faker knocked around in front of the turret, does not get up to burn the ult. He's getting low and just never casts it.
He doesn't respect the Zyra damage, misses his self-ultimate.
And now it could be dangerous. Wolf's gonna die in a couple more shots. Oh, it's gonna be enough that Bengi shuts him out anyway. And that is 2 for 1, favor of SKT. ROX finally get a kill 21 minutes in, later than they would have liked.
And what a crazy engagement. The Zhonya is perfectly timed by Smeb, but Bengi coming in to save the fight. His Nidalee has been pretty good considering he's never played it competitively. So some big moments coming in from SKT here, and they get a little bit smaller of a lead in this game.
Honestly, super cool game mechanics there too. After the Zhonya, so what you have to know is that after Zhonya, if you place 2 bombs, it will instant trigger on Smeb. So the fact that Peanut actually picks up the bomb after the Zhonyas in a little bit is quite peculiar because it allows Smeb to then flash out. That's what happens here. Smeb reads the flash beautifully. Then the first bomb comes out, he goes to Peanut, and that means no double stun on the Smeb. It's like the little things, but then the same bomb ends up killing him anyways.
And that's the cute finish right there. But then Faker right here, a bunch of minions. He bombs the minions, doesn't ult himself, didn't want to be reviving the turret, but you definitely don't want to die, so a big misplay by him right there. And they're fighting over that Mountain Drake right now.
And it's SKT who seem to be the ones with control. Ward of the pit, everything they could possibly need, it feels like. And SKT will answer Mountain Drake for Mountain Drake. 2,500 gold separating both the squads, and that's secure by Bengi.
It's so important that you get a lead with Zillion too. He's one of those champions that plays so well once you're slightly ahead because you can snowball and accelerate, but come too far behind, Zillion kind of becomes useless. And we see SKT playing to the strengths, push up mid lane, just roam to a different lane, surprise people with that speed up in River. If they don't have perfect vision control, it's quite unpredictable where exactly the Zillion pick is.
Always going to be scary. Asher not going to land this time either. SKT is doing a generally better job of juking. ROX only found 1 kill so far in this game. That's mid lane turret going down. SKT all 3 outers now.
Also, the difference in the Karma versus the Zyra. Zyra gets hit by every arrow. Karma can master shield the entire team. Everybody gets a speed boost. Everybody gets to dodge the arrow.
Not to mention the 5 ranged champions that SKT have in this game. They're really keeping their distance from the ROX Tigers, and that's going to make it really difficult for Peanut to be able to make it into these fights, unless Prey can land that perfect Ash arrow, which, as SKT is getting a little bit more familiar with it and also have the higher mobility team with the speed boost from the Zillion and the Karma, are dodging them at a much higher rate. They still haven't brought in Cleanse or QSSs or Mikhails, but they are juking the arrows.
And in my mind, though, as you're talking about all of this, if I'm SKT, I'm still afraid of a 5-on-5. I just feel like there's so much damage on ROX Tigers that a proper team fight could be so scary, but SKT are manipulating around that so well.
Exactly, and that's part of having the 5 ranged champions, as well as all as the mobility control with the hastes they can get from the Zillion and the Karma. Because I agree, they don't want to just dive into the ROX Tigers, but they do want to poke them and have long, extended fights.
And honestly, the way to do that is 1-3-1 and then go for like little collapses on the side. Here again, Prey hits a trap, immediate reaction.
Arrows him.
That's obviously very easy to do. But there's Bengi.
Bengi back in on to Prey. A lot of health going down on him. Has to flash get away from that one. Gets away from the deadly flourish. But that is a flash down of the low mobility ROX Tigers AD carry.
No mobility right now. No flash, no heal.
Just his legs. Got to do it the old-fashioned way.
Boots of swiftness, got the speed.
Great.
Both ADs go that way.
Hurricane move speed 5%, I think. But yeah, comparatively, when there's a Zillion buffed, like Gnar hopping over you, flashing over minions, like, yeah, Prey's probably dead next team fight.
Yeah, better not skip leg day if you're Prey right now. Or stall out. Look for the next arrow. Honestly, that's it for ROX. That's the cadence of their aggression. It is every single arrow.
I agree with you there. He had to use it defensively, essentially, against the Jhin right there, because we're not too far removed from the Jhin and Ashe meta where you would just pick both of these AD carries because they have the utility and they can just kind of team fight each other from 3,000 range. The 1-3-1 is being set up by SKT, as you mentioned there, Crepo. Gnar pushing pretty heavily on the bottom side. Mercury treads enough defense right now to deal with Smeb because he has so much damage threat with the Frozen Mallet and the Black Cleaver. And then Faker with Teleport very safely continuing the shove on the top side.
Yeah, Smeb opting into a little bit defensive build as well here, so he doesn't have the raw damage to just kind of all in Dukes. Duke should be fine right now in that matchup. SKT keeping the map big is really good for them because they can really leverage the 2 teleports that they bring to the table. Nobody from ROX wants to play in the top lane right now. Basically looking for the shorter straw. If it is the Ashe or the Victor pick that has to go there, the second they send somebody top, that's when SKT can start positioning around the map, you know, sliding a few wards into the enemy jungle, and then leveraging the fact that they have that double teleport.
But there's also the ever-present danger when SKT is in a 1-3-1 with no QSSs, no cleanses, and no Mikhails, because if ROX lands the arrow in the mid lane on the 3, they can wipe them and take a bunch of interior turrets.
Quick root into Peanut, landing some of the skill shots as well, but the count isn't going to land. And left he goes. One last shot lands. He's a bit low.
That third shot would have landed, Peanut would be dead.
One more would have gotten him. He would have had to do something else. But
Gorilla wants a flank here, but he gets spotted by Bengi. Good spot by Bengi
again anyway. A quick root on Gorilla. Goodbye. Look for the harass, got hit in return, and now the double bomb forcing the flash of Kuro, the stun and a Faker, not gonna matter, because he already had the ulti on the side. And Bengi again, now the double kill, the flash heal for Bang to turn it around, but look at the trade damage, Prey running for dear life, and he will in fact get away with it. 2 for 1 still, advantage SKT.
SKT believes so much in their god and savior Bengi that their AD carry is willing to flash in just to heal him. Straight into an equalizer.
Yep. They had gotten so many positive things because Bengi was going off right there, but sometimes you need to know when to let your Nidalee die, and Bang uses both of his defensive summoner spells to go in, falls back. Faker had already ulted himself into the turret, and when they did that, they lose their pressure on the mid lane, so they don't actually get to convert on the nice play they made to kill Gorilla.
First of all, great presence of mind for SKT to scout out that brush, because if Wolf was allowed to flash ER in, would have been a win. Great from Kuro as well, dodging the second bomb at least, but then Bengi aggressively moves in, tries to kill Pang here.
The turret was on him when he flashed forward as well, because Faker had been reviving from the Zillion ultimate. A dangerous move there, and the gold lead actually doesn't extend for SKT.
Yeah, thanks to Smeb turning it around with the equalizer that would have otherwise, I think, had Prey dead immediately and was a quarter second away from actually getting the kill onto Bengi anyway. Got so low out of the equalizer. Very tight timings here. 3,500 gold still puts SKT ahead. They've actually held this lead at, I want to say, very similar numbers. It's grown slightly over time, but ROX are playing from behind pretty tight here. Faker Gonna find Peanut, or vice versa, and Faker decides to go away.
And right now for SKT, they're not looking for tangible gold leads, honestly. They're looking for good vision control in the enemy red jungle. That is their main objective if they can somehow acquire it through the 1v1. Because that could unlock the potential Baron attempt. Another arrow goes out.
Land, good dodge by Bengi.
Yeah.
One thing I'm surprised by is that Prey is going for a second Zeal item instead of going for the Infinity Edge. It is a huge damage bump to finish that item, and instead he's going for the more attack speed focused one. Gorilla gonna get attacked once. Bengi a bit low as well, and Gorilla just sits there, grins and bears it, and it's Bengi who gets shut down, and no one was in range to help him out with that one.
Faker was off in the top lane, and Bengi was trying to go hero mode. Another kind of big mistake there after playing so clutch for so much of this game. Twice overextends, this time he falls.
Setup looked so good for SKT. They had 1-3-1 going. Arrow was on cooldown. All they had to do was just keep pushing the side lanes. Their point of advance was basically having somebody match Faker and Faker peel off. Instead, they pulled the trigger too early.
Such a tense moment still in this series. SKT one game from elimination. Bengi had played such a solid early and mid game, but ROX have been able to turn some of SKT's aggression against them right now and keep this gold very close. The longer SKT does this 1-3-1, the longer they can't stall before getting the progress. Rallies is completed on Kuro if he can catch Faker.
And Faker is definitely caught. He's gonna land the flash, and he gets away from the undertow. Moves fast enough to get away with it. Arrow's gonna hit Wolf, and it just does not matter.
But earlier, we could also see, just in the defense of that pick on Gorilla Zyra right there, the zone control that's built into this ROX comp. You have the Victor Dome on the left side, you have the Zyra ulti on the other side, you have a bunch of snares, plants coming out, the threat of damage if you move in as well. If SKT ever bite off too much that they can't shoot, they get blown up immediately.
Whoa! Bengi popped Gorilla somewhere on the side of the map, lands a javelin, lands the rest of the skills, and
Solo kill.
nothing for the Zyra to do. And the funny thing is, actually, Gorilla has a lion's share of the kills of ROX Tiger.
If Gorilla dies right there, it's very likely they was looking for a ward over the wall and he just ate a spear.
Bengi picking these spots very well. This gives over second Mountain Drake for SKT this game. That's every Mountain Drake that can possibly spawn in this game.
In a row. We've had triple Ocean, triple Infernal, now triple Mountain. This one, though, spread apart a little bit. SKT gets two, and now look at this, the pressure onto this turret of Smeb. It's another game where, wow, actually, he's going to Zonius to dodge through the skill shots, and now has to fear for his life. Look at the damage uplift from Bengi. A house will kill him off.
He's alive.
But he's dodging away finally. It's a deadly flourish, just that as Bang kills him off.
Smeb did not expect that much damage to come out of Bengi because he technically could have flashed most, if not all, of that damage if he just flashed a pounce. Bengi surprising there with the Nidalee pick.
Whoa, Faker, though. He's going to ult, but he's going to get hit up here. So, Gravity Field, is it available? Yes, it is. This could be difficult for Faker. He doesn't have flash, but yeah, still able to walk away from that. A trade of blows, a trade of ultimates.
And back in the day, that was much better for the Victor if the ultimate's still silenced, because you actually forced the Zillion to use his ultimate much earlier. With just a little interrupt, though, Faker can always get out.
Yeah.
Unless the Gravity Field, just like you said, spawns in time.
Yeah, and notice the picks that SKT's been able to get in the side lane as well as in the mid lane with Bengi landing spears. The 1-3-1 finally kind of was able to crack open ROX Tigers. They caught them in a warding pattern, then they got a very good dive off, and now they're going to try, since they were able to take control of the bottom side, they're trying to transition that vision control now to the top side, where they can maybe get Baron control with their double Mountain Drake and kill the Baron very quickly.
Yeah, this is where it gets tricky, because they have to overstand deep into the enemy territory. They have to build on those pink wards they have on the right side, have Duke leverage the pressure. The second he reveals two members bot, they go for Baron. The second he can maybe peel off and get a good teleport, they go for Baron. But this right here, what Bengi is doing, that's what they want. They want vision in the enemy red side, choke out the vision around Nashor, and then force ROX Tigers to face check or waste all their blue trinkets and the hawk shots. There's one. One blue trinket is down, there's one more remaining.
ROX get some of their vision back. They're going to kill off this pink ward that SKT placed a little while ago, though Gorilla will have to fear for his life because Bengi's scary on this Nidalee. 4, 1, and 3. So far the best performing member of SK Telecom.
Second blue trinket down, there's one ward in the pit, and at this point, it's getting dark.
The thing is,
Hawk
they
shot
also
30.
have Ashe. So Hawkshot in 30, the trinket on Prey will also be up a little bit before then. Not to mention the Ashe arrow could potentially scout, so I don't think they're in danger yet. SKT would most likely try and get some poke damage on someone before they really start this one.
And this is the vision from the ROX Tigers. They don't see anything in the Baron area. Luckily for them, they see a couple of members visible. Faker just shows up. That's the power of 1-3-1. It's such a hard time
Trying to
spotting
go.
where
Doesn't
Faker
Land the
is.
slow, but he's going to flash for the Q into the ulti, and he gets away from the stuns. Yes, he does. So Faker should not have an exit here. That's okay. The revive. Now it's time for the gravity field. Now how much can be done? Because keep in mind, SKT are pushing elsewhere. So Faker loses his life, but there's still more happening. Mid lane is under fire. Prey just runs to the side and says, "You can't see me anymore." Still gets the shot. Mid tier 2 though did die for the kill on Faker.
But they traded for not only the kill, they also get some vision control here. That's more important. They had complete fog of art. If Faker and the people in the mid lane disappeared, ROX would have to face check. So I think they're happy sacrificing a single turret for a kill and honestly balancing out the vision again.
Yeah, it buys them time, but it also goes to show how difficult of a situation they are in. Kuro burned both of the summoner spells there against Faker, who burned none. And while they do trade some time and a mid lane turret, they don't really gain anything outside of temporary control and just a hope that when SKT set up the next play, that ROX can get more picks.
And they have to do that with the arrow. Again, that's what Prey is looking for. The next one has to hit. We've said it before, but it's getting close to the point where ROX, if they don't hit one of the next 1 or 2 arrows, they will just simply lose the Baron.
Yeah, and that Baron would be super critical, especially with Duke's split pushing power right now. The overall pace of this game is much more in favor of SKT as another arrow flies wide, because ROX was the highest combined kills per minute team in this game, so the fastest pace from a kills perspective of the entire tournament, whereas SKT does play much slower. And even in this series, the accelerated kill games have gone to ROX when there's very rapid decisions.
Yeah.
But when it's responsive and slow like this, SKT have had the upper hand. So ROX doesn't have the tools here to accelerate the game unless the Ash arrows are connecting.
Yeah, this game, in fact, like to talk about some statistics, this was their slowest first kill of the tournament by 50%. It was 13 minutes, this was 21. And they're just not getting a lot done. The arrows are being dodged this time around, and ROX just don't have the ways in.
We gotta check Wolf here. He's coming in with 4 wards. ROX Tigers being shoved out of the mid lane and their own jungle here. SKT aggressively moving up for vision.
Ooh, the
or
2
just
shots
poke.
landed. Ooh, Bengi not quite in range. And that's going to be him getting away from the deadly flourish. Again, 1 more shot lands, and that would have been a kill onto Prey, or at least a forced summoner spell.
We can't forget there's 2 Mountain Drakes inside of SKT, and Peanut is playing a jungle with no flash, so he has to physically walk around the corner. You don't need as much fog of war as you would normally do. Even just right there, if they can get that ward and the red buff under control, they could simply rush the Baron, especially since Peanut is being poked out.
Yeah, and they still have the double TP if they wanted to try and set up a split push, but because they got Prey so low, they needed to kind of threaten the Baron right now, and they could actually be doing it with Bengi having to harass. ROX doesn't know this, so they
got
have
the
to
slows.
look a little bit forward.
Peanut's getting a bit low, 2,000 health, and the stuns could be there, but not going to dive in just yet. Kuro was around to participate. Bang got dropped to half, and SKT will partially reset.
Yeah, they're resetting because we see pings on the bottom wave from SKT. Blue pings went out on that massive minion wave in the bot lane, indicating that they want to fix that first. The first step to any objective contention is just getting the push on your side lanes.
Creating the option to say, hey, if you ignore this, we'll just kill a turret instead.
Yeah.
We'll just knock down your base and forget the Baron baits. The minions are here for you. And look at that Duke preempts it in time. There's no pressure to be had from ROX Tigers. Not getting a lot done with this. It'll be pushed back in. Bengi getting cut out though. Gonna flash. Actually, a flash as well from Faker to pop his own ulti. And now can they get away from the ults? It's Prey trying to take it up, but he's gonna get into a bad way. Hey, thankfully for Kuro, he does slink out with enough health. Faker and Bang both burning summoner spells in that one.
And a little bit sloppy there with double flashes having to be burned by SKT and not getting the kill onto the ROX Tigers. SKT are in a position where they can force a 5th game, but if they falter once, they would be out of Worlds right here. So they have to be so cautious with the way they make these plays. ROX is going to try and force them into a decision here. Split
They're
push up
starting it.
top from Duke. They are starting it. They know Faker has no flash. They know Bang's ultimate is down. This is huge.
This is going to be tight timing. Duke is guaranteed to be mini bar. He's got no bar at all, so no big stuns. Gorilla does not quite get caught, but he's low, and the shot comes through. 1,200 damage out of Bang. That's the one for nothing. And look at Kuro, just zoned out by Faker, not getting anything done.
Duke didn't even come in with teleport, so he canceled. ROX have to run away, but Duke's also getting the inhibitor.
And Bang's on a killing spree.
ROX forced that play without Kuro being. Kuro came from base. He doesn't have teleport. Even if Bengi dies here, Duke is just whacking away at the base.
And he's going to kill off the inhibitor, we think, so far. It's 2 for 1 overall in kills. Smeb trying to re-engage. How much damage do they have? Because Bang is on a rampage, and there's the revive. Nothing to be picked up. It's now Smeb who has to carry this fight, but he doesn't have the damage. Forced to flash away. Bang pushes him out. Faker does too.
And there's still a Gnar in the base of the ROX Tigers.
And that should be enough. The curtain call is there.
Just
this should be the land. Easy peasy. Bang is unstoppable. And Duke is still pushing. Gorilla and Peanut are the ones alive trying to keep the base up. 15 seconds and Kuro. And the teleport is in for Faker. It's SKT trying to close it out right now. Trying to bring us to game 5. Gorilla's down. Kuro's up in 4. But they need minions. They need to back off for a few more seconds, and SKT look like they will back off all the way and try again a bit later.
And for the first time this entire series, I feel ROX looked lost. They went for a panic Baron play. Their jungle was clearing out the ward. The AD carry just hit it. They didn't commit at the same frame. It was such a poor attempt too, because their mid laner wasn't even there.
Yeah, and it is a mistake, but it was almost bound to happen eventually with the way SKT was playing this game, starving them of vision back and forth and back again. And then ROX gets the one window. Gorilla stays too long, gets cut off by Bang. Faker completely cutting off Kuro on the side here. And the canceled TP by Duke, as well as the way SKT plays around this, is exquisite. They finish off Kuro and then continue to push forward. If I do nitpick right here, Faker should have been with the team to stop these recalls, and Bengi could have stayed alive, and maybe they actually win the game off the Gnar right here. But they kill Bengi, Faker's late to this arrival, and the rest of the fight plays out.
I definitely agree. Faker should stay with his team if the imperative is just to cancel the backs right there. Going for a single hit is definitely the right play. But this is all the result of, honestly, hard work and good vision in the enemy jungle by SKT, because that's exactly how they spotted Kuro moving in. He was coming from the base because he got chunked out earlier. Again, just looking to chunk here. Maybe kill.
No flash.
Red buff on a play, and goodbye. Bengi lands the javelin. Red buff over the jungler after all.
They don't have Baron, but they might not need it right now. There's already one down turret. Prey is dead in this situation, and they even get a lot of poke on a Peanut.
And Peanut might be next in this one. Down to 2k HP. Bengi not going to dive the turret just yet on this one, but 5v4.
Yeah, ROX, only 4 members remain here. They have wave cut from the Victor, but SKT is just going to simply turn around and do the same thing again. Choke the vision out, get the Baron. If ROX face check, they're dead. If they don't, well, they lose an Asher. I don't even think Peanut can make it there in time.
Exactly, and even if Peanut is there in time, can he run through Bang right now, who's a 7-kill Jhin, and just trucking them with damage, not to mention the damage from Bangi. So Duke zoning out, no way ROX can steal this.
And it's not gonna happen. An easy peasy pickup. Nicely done, SK Telecom T1. 10,000 gold in the lead, looking to take this game and bring us to the 5th game of the series.
And wouldn't that just be the epic ending to this series we've been waiting for? These games have been so closely played and so well played by both teams. It would almost be tragic if there were a big mistake by SKT here in a game that they essentially deserved to win would be lost to ROX Tigers. Elder Drake, Baron, they want to take this to a deciding game 5.
And both teams also stayed true to their style that was predicted of them. Yes, SKT is reactive in a sense, but it's because they just read the map so well. We saw Faker move around now with the Zillion as well. They just played it slow, methodical, low combined kills and deaths in the early game here. Whereas ROX, the games that they excelled in, they were bloody, they were fast-paced, there were a few mistakes, but it was Peanut going off.
We might see the SKT style workout here. 2 apiece looks to be the scoreline we're looking at. 10 kills up, 13,000 gold, and nothing else to take but the ROX Tigers base. 2 minutes, 20 seconds on the Baron buff. Minute and a half remains on Elder Dragon.
You really can't help but praise Koma and Bengi for what they pulled off here. They sub Bengi back into the series. They don't ban Nidalee.
There's a teleport.
They have a strong, successful play.
Gonna fake, but he's all right. It's the kills Crucible burned by Wolf. Here comes the re-engage. Peanut is low.
Smells behind. They don't know he's there.
Way too much damage. Looking for Faker, getting shot up and blown up. Now it's Member the backside, but he can't find much to do. It's still ROX Tigers waiting to find what their opening could be. It's a 2-for-0. Make that 3-for-0 as the bombs blow up even more. And this could be the game-winning play right now. Kuro's got nothing left to do. Sure, he can pop the Guardian Angel, but what does it even matter? It's a 4-for-0. It's the ace. It's the game. And it's SK Telecom T1 bringing us to game 5.
What a series we have here. I can't wait for the 5th game. SKT fight their way back in elimination game. Bengi subs back in. He saves SKT. Now we're going to game 5.
Bring on the Silver Scrapes. Summoner's Rift himself, SKT Bengi, is undefeated in this series. And we now have the decider, the last game to play to determine which of these incredible teams deserves to represent in the final.
But they're smiling. The ROX Tigers are still smiling, and it's so important to keep up morale. They said it in their interviews as well. They never viewed SKT as an unbeatable opponent. They are not their kryptonite. They're simply another guy in the way of them reaching the Summoners Cup, and that's exactly what they want to do in Game 5.
Yep, and if they are to win the Summoners Cup, they must win the next game. And this has been such an incredible series. That game in particular was SKT's best played game of the series. They are 2-0 with Bengi. They lost both games